oh, like I ride for, like I don't care whether other people ride, and I think that's pretty much what everyone says at the end of the day. Like, no one is riding for someone else.
No, exactly. You're riding for yourself.
It's too expensive of a hobby to ride for someone else. Like.
So she got time for me. I'ma take this time with me. I've been giving all my energy. So she wanna ride with me. So she got time for me. I'ma take this time with me. I've been giving all my energy.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Motorcycle Lounge. I'm Jeff, a.k.a. the Kawatrooper, and today we have another guest, and his name is Jaymie.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
I don't know. It's finally nice to have you in the show.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while in the making trying to get this. Our timings are horrible, or my timings are horrible. A busy person.
It's like one day here, another day there. Oh, I can't make it here. But you know what? The most important part is that you're here today.
I made some time. I had to scoot some things around, and I made it here. So
that's the most important part.
Yeah.
So. Again, for the new viewers that are looking at this video today, this is a podcast just to, if you have any questions about getting motorcycles, or if you're planning on getting one, or if you're not even sure if you want to get a motorcycle yet, this basically covers the whole spectrum, because most of the motorcycle videos that you see on YouTube will be about, motorcycles, how fast they go, the price range. You're going to be saying if it's like a 300 versus 600, what's the difference? But this is really more the people. And I think that's a very important thing to emphasize in our, I'd like to say, the culture of it.
Yeah, definitely a culture of a motorcyclist. Because, you're right. Definitely most people on YouTube will just tell you the specs of how bikes are, or how they act, or stuff like that. Not many YouTubers will at least tell you on how they got into motorcycles, or why they chose a specific bike over a certain one, other than just pure specs.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
But that's it. So these are the stories of the people. And I think that's also one of the most important things, because if not them, it might be you. If not you, it might be a friend. So that's why I always emphasize at the end of the show, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But before we get into that, because you're going to be seeing some sick highlight reels, we're going to start with the basics. So explain. Where are you from? When did you start motorcycles, and why?
Okay, so Montreal, Canada. Obviously, we're here in one of the most beautiful cities in Canada, I think, hopefully. What I believe so.
I mean, province.
Province. Definitely the worst roads, but definitely a very beautiful province. So I'm from here, born and raised, went to an English school, so all that fun stuff no one really cares about. Other than that, why I got into motorcycles? You know what? It's very hard to tell you why. As a kid, I remember my brother used to always play with toy cars, and I was always playing with toy motorcycles. I just always had motorcycles in my hand, anything two wheels. Even as a kid, I was on a bike very young, trying to do tricks, trying to do stuff. I got into BMXing. I hurt myself many times, which you'll know later on. I did hurt myself on a motorcycle too, but that's pretty much really it. I just always had a passion for two wheels. Something about two wheels is just so much fun. And weirdly enough, I am more comfortable on two wheels than four wheels. I mean,
really? It's
weird to say. I do have a drift car as well.
What car do you have? Because I'm pretty sure there's some car enthusiasts that are watching right now.
So I have a Nissan 240SX S14. It's in pieces like every other 240 in the world, pretty much, in the middle of being rebuilt. But I love racing cars. I was very lucky to attend a racing school and stuff like that. So I got a license, and I don't race anymore, but definitely do enjoy, the little drifting every now and then when the car does work when it wants to work. But I got into car scenes, and I really liked it, but I knew something was missing. And every time I saw a motorcycle, it was like, let's get on a motorcycle, let's do it. And I just kind of jumped the gun and just went to go get my motorcycle license. I was like, screw it, let's do it.
Jeez.
And my parents were not the happiest. Well, actually,
I mean, they had to expect it. You were playing with like motorcycle toys.
So my mom knew it was coming. But it was really funny. Actually, what happened was I had asked my dad, That was very simple in the world. He's very just, once you're 18, you can do what you want. Just don't bring the police to my house. Don't make me work more than I have to. Very, very simple way, right?
Yeah.
So I remember I went up to my dad and I was like, hey, can I get a motorcycle license? And he was like, well, you're 18. You can do what you want. And I was like, perfect. And I was like, do I tell mom? And he told me straight up, he's like, well, you want to die today or you want to die when you get your motorcycle? And I was like, oh, okay. So I know definitely not to tell her. And there was a point where I had ordered my motorcycle helmet. It came in the mail. And at that time, I was racing, not racing, but I was competing in go-karting.
Okay.
Not competing, but definitely going consistently enough to have a lot of fun and be competitive. And my mom was like, why do you have a helmet? And I'm like, oh, it's for go-karting, nothing crazy, nothing, I wanted something more aerodynamic, some nicer colors. And
she was starting to become suspicious, basically.
Not really, actually. I told her that, and she just kind of
let it go.
And I was like, all right, perfect. This works with me. And then I remember I bought my first motorcycle, and I drove it. I bought it during the winter, and I brought it home March 15th because Quebec, we have to have our winter tires, and we can't we can't drive motorcycles before the 15th. I brought it home on a trailer. I put it in the parking, and I remember my mom walking home from work, and I'm parking it. I'm like just getting off the bike, parking it in its spot. And I look at my mom, and I'm like, hey, how do you like my new bike? And she looked at me and then just walked into the house. Not one word, not nothing. She hated it. She did not talk to me for a little bit. But you know what? It came to a point where I was using it all the time and everything, and so she became a little bit more confident that I'd not kill myself on a motorcycle. I think to this day she still hates the fact I'm on a motorcycle, but she's accepted that no matter what, I will be on a motorcycle. Like
I think I have that same thing where, my mom told me, she's like, if you ever get a motorcycle, I'm kicking you out of the house. If you ever get a motorcycle, I'm disowning you. And like, I don't know if you know, but Filipino families are super strict.
Well,
we're very traditional, or at least we're supposed to be,
But I would assume in your family, are you first generation here?
Yeah, I'm firstborn here.
Firstborn here. So I'm assuming she probably looks at motorcyclists the way like back home and in the Philippines. I mean,
well, no, you know what? It's very funny that you mentioned that because the Philippines, motorcycles are everywhere.
They're everywhere, but they're dangerous. They're like
the
driving there is dangerous.
It's easier to drive out there than it is over here, and especially because everybody knows Quebec drivers are super aggressive when we drive. She's just she was more scared of me driving here than in the Philippines. She said, if ever you go back to the Philippines, I don't care if you ride a motorcycle. I just don't want you riding one here. I was like,
well, also in the Philippines, you can't even get a fast bike there either. So it's, it's so, right? That's still very interesting, actually.
Yeah.
That I did not think of. I would have never thought of that. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's more because when she thinks of home, she thinks, a safe place. She thinks a happy place.
Yeah.
So I think that's what made her think that the Philippines is actually less dangerous to drive a motorcycle versus here, because there they don't even wear helmets, they don't even gear up. No. It's too hot to gear up. You know what?
They're in flip-flops all the time.
Exactly. You know what most of the drivers do actually? So they'll have a full-on spring jacket, right? A windbreaker, and they would flip it upside down, or not upside down, but like
inside
the
out?
Wrong way.
The zipper in the back?
Yeah, zipper in the back, and so the air would like actually come up here, and then I don't know how to say,
like cool it.
It cooled them down, but without the sunburn, because usually you're riding here and you would never think about doing that, right? Anyways.
No, because here we do get hot. We get, if we're wearing leathers,
it's not tropical.
No, it's definitely.
Again, we're talking about leather here. Over there, we're talking windbreakers.
Yeah. That's definitely very different in safety. Mentality over there is very different.
Yeah.
But even then, here we do have shitty drivers. We just do. People, especially with the winter, people forget about motorcycles.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Especially the first couple months. After March 15,
April, you definitely have to be careful. May as well, it's only once you start hitting like June, July, August, those like real hardcore summer months, that's when people start realizing, they're like, oh shit, motorcycles are still here, you know, like they still exist here in Quebec. Motorcycles are cyclists, but you know,
No, you know what? We're gonna tackle that later on because it's not that I hate cyclists, but I hate them.
I think that's a topic that everyone has. I think everyone agrees that we don't hate them. We just really hate them. Yeah, we hate them, but we don't at the same time. There's so many reasons, but we'll get that a little bit later.
Yeah.
So what was the next question? I forgot.
Yeah. No. Well, me too. But we'll move on to the next one at this point. How long have you been riding?
Not long, actually. Most people think I've been riding for a very long time. And I don't know if it's because of I don't think I'm that great of a rider, but some people say I'm pretty good. Some people say I don't. I don't know. I don't care. Anyways, I've been riding for, I'm going to say 4 years.
Okay.
Hold on. I actually have to think back on my bikes. Hold on. I got to think back of the colors of when my bike was, because it changes every year.
Well, see, that's another question that I wanted to add.
Yeah, that's a big one.
What did you start with and what do you have now?
Okay, so people hate me for this, but I started on a Ninja 300 at 220 pounds, almost 6 foot tall. 300 is a very small bike, but I learned a lot. Actually, I got it for a steal. That's the only reason I got it. Was I bought it brand new off the lot. It was a 2015. I think I bought it I think it was 2017 is when I started. Yeah. I bought it in 2017. It was brand new. I got to open the crate at the dealership.
Oh, yeah.
That's how brand new it was. I opened up the crate. I paid $4,200 tax in off the lot with a 2-year warranty still on it. And I looked at the market, and the market was selling for $3,500 with like 10 to 15,000 kilometers on it. And I was like, no matter, I ride it for 3-4 months and I can make my money back. Like,
exactly.
So for me, it was a steal. I said, let's do it. Also put in perspective, I had my license 2 years prior to that, but financially, buying a bike just wasn't reasonable. It wasn't a smart idea. So there was 2 years where I didn't even ride at all. I had my license, but I didn't ride whatsoever. I initially wanted a 650 or a Kawa 650 or a 600cc, like not super sport, like a sport touring. Because in school at that time, that's all we had. We only had 600s or 500 sport tourings.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Technic.
Okay.
Was it Technic? Yeah, it was Technic. Yeah, it was Technic. We were up in Laval in the Techno Park. That's where our school was. It was pretty cool. Other than that, so we were only using 500s. I said, why am I going to buy a 300 if I'm already used to a 500?
Yeah.
You know, it made no sense. Because I knew I was going to go up to a 500 or 600 anyways. But the price was perfect. So I bought the 300. I had it for that summer. That was my first bike.
This is the same bike you were talking about that you brought home and your mom saw,
yeah,
right?
exact same bike. Yeah, that was that bike. I brought home. My mom hated me for it. Didn't speak to me. And that was that. I had an accident with it the first month I had it. It was brand new. I think I had like 200 kilometers on it. I had a little accident. It wasn't too bad. It was a little scuff. I pretty much, I had a guy just like touch my rear tire.
Okay.
Just got a little bit too close, and it just kind of tipped right over, and wasn't too bad. Hurt my shoulder a bit. Nothing crazy.
Were you wearing gear and stuff?
I was wearing full gear. Yeah, it was very low speed. I think I was going like maybe 5 kilometers an hour. I was coming to a stop, and I was coming at a stop, and he was coming from, I think, the left, and he was turning into, like, where I was, because it was a double lane, and he just turned way too wide, and it just, like, clipped my rear tire.
How wide do you have to go, though?
Wide. He went pretty damn wide. It was a big SUV. I was near the airport, and it was a rental car. So it was like I don't want to say Yukon, but definitely something along those lines. Big SUV. Guy was definitely not used to driving that, but whatever. Shit happens. He helped me up, whatever. So that was that. I accidented that one. Well, just a little scuff, and I continued riding it pretty much all summer till the end of the summer, and then till about August, let's say August, I had put, I think 5 to 10,000 kilometers on that thing.
Really?
I was riding a lot. That summer I had like 2 months off the whole summer pretty much. So I just went riding everywhere. I was like trying to ride as much as possible.
Did you ride with a lot of people, or it was just
Not
by
really.
yourself?
I was mostly solo
Okay.
for the beginning of the month because I was still new in the scene, right? I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anything. None of my friends have motorcycles
Okay.
back then, at least. None of my friends at school, nothing. No one had motorcycles. So when I got to getting a motorcycle, I had no one really. So I just kept riding. I kept looking on Facebook for events. Whoever there's an event, let's go. Let's have some fun. Let's go meet some people. And that's what I did. I actually met a gang of people. They were Their motorcycles were way out of my league when I had my Ninja 300. They had all thousands and Busas, like R1s and ZX10s. And
But it didn't stop you from still joining those events and meeting those people.
You know what? Those people were so nice, and they really they were really like open armed and really taught me. I learned a lot from them. Everyone was giving me tricks and things and techniques and stuff like that to learn. And they were all experienced riders. They were all like 4, 5, 6 years of actual riding experience. So when I definitely joined them and started hanging out with them more and more, it was great. There's no other way to learn than with others, right? I find there's only so much you can do alone, right? If no one's giving you pointers or stuff like that, how are you really
because,
gonna know?
well, it's like our teachers at Morty's used to say, if someone's not giving you advice on what you're doing wrong, it's because they're doing it wrong too. And it's very important to take those into account. When somebody comes and tells you like you're doing something wrong, guys, don't take it offensively. It's for your safety, and they want to let you know. So again,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
important.
It's definitely very important, and for the people that are like that do track, I've started I dabbled in some track a little bit. Track is one of those things you have to take the critiques because at those speeds, the critiques can save your life. And there are certain things people tell, like obviously you got to take everything with a grain of salt, right? If you have 10 people telling you one thing and then there's one person who has no credentials, no nothing, telling you something completely different, I would look more into the 10 people who said the same thing. But also you got to, if that one person is a teacher and the other people are just street riders and never been on track, I'll listen to the teacher.
Of course.
But those are things I got to tell people, like you have to listen to what others tell you. There are so many times we ride with people and it's their first year. They have no idea what they're doing. And, this year alone, we had a few accidents in one of my crews, right? So it's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous, especially riding in a big group. So if you don't know what you're doing, take it easy and get to the back of the group and just relax, take it at your own speed. There's no reason to go faster than your abilities, and take the critiques. Really, it's worth it. It can save your life. It can save someone else's life too. So
Because
definitely.
in the end, you're not riding by yourself.
No,
with
well, you
everybody
try
else
to,
around you.
when there's everyone around you, you got to be careful. Like I remember, like we had a big accident on the 20, right, where that guy hit the medium.
Yeah.
And I remember he was right in front of me. His bike was 10 feet up in the air. He was like 15 feet up in the air, and he was right in front of me.
Is that the one that I saw on Supermax's Instagram?
Don't know.
And he
It
was
a while-
like,
it was
he
beginning of
said
the
like,
season.
oh, it's it looked like a huge accident, but he's like,
Yeah.
but he's okay.
Yes, yeah. So he is okay. From what we understood, he is okay. Surprisingly, his backpack saved him very well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was sliding. A guy. He was actually side by side with him, and he said when he was riding, the guy was on the floor sliding at the same speed with him, side by side with him.
No way.
He literally just looked down and he was right there with him. That's scary, and
Oh, yeah.
I'd be very because even as a rider, when you see another person sliding on asphalt,
Yeah.
and you're going 80 kilometers an hour and he's still next to you, like I'd be scared that he goes into me or like slides under my wheel or whatever, and then I cause an accident or I get into an accident, whatever. But also the guy too, like that can be very bad for him.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
But he was lucky. He slid after falling down, he slid on his backpack, which ended up saving his back pretty much because he had no gear. Yeah, definitely don't recommend no gear. I am.
Like, are you a big advocate on all like AdGat?
Not
the gear
always.
all the time?
Not always. No. Like you got to put in perspective that I live 5 minutes from my job. So am I going to take 10, 15 minutes to put all my gear on to do a 5 minute ride and then take 15 minutes to take it all off or whatever when I get to work? No. Am I going to be wearing shorts, flip flops to go to work? No. I definitely do wear shoes. Usually I'm always wearing my motorcycle shoes. I really like them. They're super comfortable and they look very casual. So I wear them pretty much all the time when I'm riding. I'll always wear jeans, even though like at 100 kilometers an hour, jeans do nothing. But I still feel a little bit better than, like if I won't wear my Kevlar pants. It's not worth it.
I mean, you're already doing one more than a lot of people. A lot of people are just they're riding in shorts.
Oh yeah, shorts definitely is a no for me. I've done it like maybe 2 or 3 times, like going around my block, literally just testing something.
Same thing.
Just
I've gone to like the gas station or something.
yeah, me it's more like if I'm working on my bike and like I got something to do and I just want to test it to make sure it's good. I'm just going around the block. Like I'm not going fast either. I'm only going like 30 to 40 kilometers an hour. Like it's still a lot, but I'm not going fast. I am very careful. One thing I really don't understand, people who do not wear gloves while riding. I do not understand whatsoever, because that is the first thing that you put down on the ground if you fall is your hands.
Well, I understand now, because last season I actually started. So I usually have my nice gloves and stuff, right? That I had since I first started. And what I ended up doing last season was I was using my gym gloves. You know where the
They
fingers
just
are
cut off
exposed?
at the fingers.
I mean, number one, I felt like a badass doing that. But number two, it was also I don't know. It was nice to ride like that.
Yeah, it's nice to have the air.
Yeah.
I have one big issue with me is that I get heat rash in between my fingers.
Okay.
So I get pretty much like just bubbles.
Really?
It's not the worst. It just gets really, really itchy. So
What do you do to like? Do you like put a powder or any lotion?
So what I do is I usually depending if it's a really hot day, it only happens if I sweat. So if I sweat a lot, that's when it comes. So I'll put a powder in my gloves, or like I'll put on my hands and then put my gloves on. But if not, I'm very fortunate that my gloves are very ventilated, specifically on the sides. It took me a long time to find them, but I got them and I really love them. It's probably one of the only gloves I'll probably really ever wear, because it's the only ones that actually work for me. Actually, it was what my first bike was my Ninja 300. Yeah, that was to answer that one. My Ninja 300 had no name for her, actually, surprisingly. All my other bikes had names, but that one.
How many other bikes did you have?
Okay, not many. Make it sound like it had a lot.
No, I mean, because so you told me that the current one that you have right now, you've changed colors how many times?
This is gonna be this is my fourth color it's going through, but it changes every year. But there was one year I had it 2 different colors at the same time.
I don't know. I kind of like the color that it has right now.
Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
And y'all guys will see in the roll after.
No. We're queuing this right now. I took the photo. Check this out.
That is honestly, that is one of my most favorite pictures. My favorite picture of that bike with me on it. It's so, I don't know, your editing was just perfect. The timing was perfect. The colors came out exactly. No one seems to get that color really, really well. And for everyone asking, it is a Miami teal. Okay, everyone calls it Tiffany blue. No, it's not Tiffany blue. It's a Miami teal. So many people told me it was Tiffany blue, and
It annoyed you.
It annoyed me so much, so much. So hold on. Okay, so we'll go through. I had the Ninja 300, the 2015. Then I did this stupid mistake of going to a ZX10, 2007 ZX10.
Isn't that a super sport?
It is a super. It's a super sport. So I went from a 300 sport touring to a 1000cc super sport. I went from my Ninja 300 had every single electronic you can think of at the time, so ABS, all that type of stuff, traction control. Actually, I don't even think it had traction control. Never mind. It had ABS. And then I jumped to my '07 ZX10, which had no ABS, no traction control, 10 times the power, if not more. Like, ridiculous amount of power.
Did you feel the power right away?
Instantly. I took it for a ride when I went to go buy it, and I instantly fell in love with it, which is, most people say it's very weird because it's like the dog year of the ZX10s.
Okay.
That, long story short, that year, the first generation of the ZX10 in 2004, I think it was 2003, 2004, they were called the Widowmaker because they were too aggressive,
Really?
too dangerous. They were too dangerous. They killed a lot of people. Not they killed a lot of people, but people were not able to handle them. So the second generation, which is the '06, '07, they dumbed everything down. They put a better suspension. Well, not a better. They made the suspension smoother, a lot more soft. The less power. It was a lot less aggressive. So people hate it because of that. People despise it because it was no longer competitive with any of the other super sports at that time, which I don't think there were many anyways. And then most people know it because of the dual exhaust. I think it's one of the only ZX10s that have a dual exhaust underneath the tail. I loved it, but everyone hates it for some reason. I don't know why. It's so beautiful. I don't know why. And then after that, so after the ZX10, well, we'll get into that probably a little bit later, but I got into an accident with that one. So I kind of had to switch it out a little bit. I ended up rebuilding it into a Street Fighter the following year. Halfway through that year, I ended up getting my ZX10 now, which is a 2013.
Wait. You didn't name your second bike.
Did I name my second bike? Oh, no, I didn't really name it.
Okay.
It was kind of, the name was given to me, but it was more implied for me than the bike.
Okay.
I was called Flameboy for it.
Okay.
To some of my old crew, it's still the same name that has not changed.
What's the backstory to that?
The bike has flames on it.
Okay.
It is, okay, I didn't put them on. It's not tacky. It is a limited edition ZX10 with the flames. It is a beautiful bike. And you'll probably see it right now somewhere here. I love that bike. After that, I still had that one, so I had turned it into a Street Fighter. So no fairings, no nothing, just 2 LED bars in the front for my headlights, and that was pretty much it. While I had that bike, I decided to change it up, go for something newer, because I wanted to go back to ABS and traction control, all those fun things, because I knew that power was a little bit aggressive for what I was actually capable of. So I ended up buying another ZX10, which is the one that everyone knows right now.
Stella, right?
Stella. Stella is her name. She is the one and only Stella. I don't know why. It just happens to be Stella. That is her. At the time I bought her, she was white. She was white and black, which is the OEM colors of the ZX10 at that time, the 2013s. And then, so while I had those 2 bikes, I ended up switching out my '07 ZX10, my Street Fighter. I sold it, and then I picked up a 636, so a 2003 ZX6R 636. And that one is, her name is Tracy. She is a full track bike, full. I mean, she has fairings, she has track fairings on them, no lights and all that type of stuff. She's on running slicks. She's has aftermarket suspension in the front. The rear is coming. There's a lot of things going into that one, but she's a full dedicated track bike.
And you have it right now.
Yeah, I have her. Yeah. She's. I've been using her for 2 years now. My first year had a lot of money go into her to fix all the suspension because there was a lot of issues. It was a street bike before, so it was a lot of money going doing the little conversions, really just getting her back up to spec, right? Really back up to like running, operating, because she still has 35 to 40,000 kilometers on her. So she's been through a lot so far for a bike. So just doing the valves, doing like head gasket, the suspension was completely redone from A to Z. The brakes were completely redone as well. Some upgrades were in there as well, and then the whole fairings. It's a lot of money. especially getting into the sport. Getting a trailer. Well, you don't have to get a trailer, but I ended up buying a trailer. I had the generator for the tire warmers because I had slicks. And then everything else that goes around it, the tires, the suits, you want to get a better helmet at that point. You have to get the longer gloves. There's so much money that goes into that sport.
Now, for people that are thinking about getting into, track days and whatnot, just the way you explained it, it sounds like it's a lot of money, right?
It is a lot of money.
What's the expectation, money-wise, range-wise for people?
Okay, so
in Canadian dollars, please.
In Canadian dollars? Okay, it really depends on how much you want to spend, right? Because there are people that go there with a very small budget and, just a set of tires, and that's it, right? You just got to think in perspective. You can buy everything used, pretty much. When it comes to your suit, I would recommend to buy new. But you can find some great deals on Marketplace, on Kijiji, whatever. You can find some really great deals on finding a suit that was used, or even suits that were custom fit and didn't fit the person they were intended for. Some companies will just sell them off, or end of season deals. Best thing on the planet. In December, you can buy whatever you want at 20.
So basically, it's just like a self-Christmas, if anything.
Yeah. Anything. Well, our sports in the summer, right? So in the winter, they want to sell as much as possible
for the
new
stock.
Stock. All the new generations, right? All the new colors and stuff. So definitely, that is one thing. Definitely buy on sale. And if you can wait out, wait, because there's always a sale. There's always a sale, no matter what. Especially if you're looking in the middle of the summer, hold off, save a bit more money, and then if you were thinking of buying something used or whatever on in the middle of the summer, if you can hold off to the winter with that money that you were going to buy something used, you can probably buy something new with that same money.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's kind of like how I bought my Speed and Strength jacket, the one that I currently use.
Yeah.
That was $600-700, and then Christmas time came along. It was $300. I was okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, of course.
It's not made for the winter, right?
There's many times where I'm oh, I don't need this, and then I look at the price and I'm well, it's on sale. I got to buy it now, right? The sale's only gonna last a little bit.
I do the same thing when I buy stuff.
Yeah. To put a price on it, I would say, so your track days you can't really include that because the price of the organization varies depending on what track you go to. Obviously, the quality of the track and how many people go, that's what determines the value, right, or of the ticket. My home track is Seych. Seych, because it's I've been there so many times, and I love that track. Even though it's a really stupid shape, whatever. It's my home track. I've been there so many times. I kind of really like the layout. It's where I initially really started being competitive. Okay. Not competitive, but noticing that I had speed. Yeah. And I was no longer just a beginner. Where you were
kind of pushing your limits.
Exactly. That's where I started noticing. And at the beginning of the year, last year I did a lot of track days. But last year, that's where I started, and that's where I ended my year. And it was really nice to see my time differences. So that was really nice. I definitely do say, wherever track you start at first, if you can get a time roughly of what you were doing, and then later on in the year, if you can go back, or the next year go back and see what your time is, it's such a great feeling because you're going to be faster no matter what. Just a year of riding.
Even if it's not just for speed, you could see your progress, right?
Yeah, exactly. This year was a big year. I did get my knee down on the ground. It took me a long time to get it down on the ground, but that was this year. So if you take the price of the track out, on your bike, there's very minimal you got to do. I would say a good set of tires is the basics. You can't go with half set of tires. Most organizations won't even let you on the track if your tires are half used. A good set of brakes. Definitely do your maintenance. So make sure there's no oil running and stuff like that. I would say a track day can cost you about $1,000. But you got to put in perspective, your tires, you're not just using them for that one day. You can probably use them if you're a complete novice and your first few times. I would say you can use a set of tires multiple times. And if you're smart, you can probably buy a set of tires that are already used. So an old set of scrubs. Some racers use a set of tires for like their qualification laps or stuff like that, and you can buy them used at like a quarter of the price. You know, you can buy, you're talking like the stickiest race tires for like $200-300 for both tires. You know, like, and you don't
my tires were already like $600 together.
Shit. Yeah, no, my tires aren't even that expensive. That's crazy.
No, it's because I had I wanted to go with the Pirelli. What was it called? The Night Dragons or whatever it's called. It has like the little dragon.
Oh, but yeah, you're also running a different bike because Super
Yeah.
Sports are usually about 202.
Oh yeah, no, I got a cruiser,
tire.
right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Your
with a
tires
custom
are way
with the
bigger.
small tire in the front there, the
Yeah,
21-inch, but it's like
Exactly.
thin.
It's very, very different.
Yeah.
I'd say about $1,000, you can get a decent track day. You can probably even get 2 track days out of that easily. Your suit's going to be the most expensive thing. I would suggest get a 2-piece, definitely with the zipper. Best option. I have a 1-piece, and honestly, I kind of regret it. I'm as much as I love it, you can't ride that on the street.
No.
You see people with 2 pieces all the time, and you can see them on the street. You know, they'll just wear the top or just wear the bottom, whatever.
Well, I see Josh all the time, and he's like, he has it like halfway through, but he looks so uncomfortable with it sometimes.
Yeah, it really depends because like you can't really take it off. Also, my shoulders are really bad, so taking it off is also pain.
Yeah.
Especially if you're alone, it's very hard to do. So your suit, tires, bike maintenance. Other than that, your trailer to get to the actual place. Other than that, there's not fuel. Don't forget fuel. That's a big one. I've done that. I've ran out of fuel halfway through my day. Oh, yeah. That was a bad day. I was very lucky that I had someone with me that came and went to go get more fuel.
I'm guessing they don't supply it over there.
No, they don't. And if they did, it would probably be through the roof.
Yeah.
Crazy expensive. Other than that, I'm trying to think. There's not much. I'm forgetting something big for sure. Food. Oh yeah, shit. Food. Fuel for yourself. That is one thing you cannot cheap out on. Is just buy yourself a case of bottles of water, like a case of water. Like just put it in the car, leave it there. Case of Gatorade, and then like a few sandwiches.
Have you gone days without any food?
No, I'm an overpacker, so I
Okay.
pack a lot of stuff. The day I didn't bring fuel was because my fuel tank flew off my trailer. So, yeah, that was a long day for me. Yeah, a very long day for me. But that was the only time I always overpack. I pack way more than what I need, and it's actually kind of great because then the next day I already have a lunch made.
Yeah,
I have a
right.
spare sandwich. I have some snacks. I have a Gatorade that's nice and cold.
Yeah.
You know, like it's great. So for me, that works out really well. But track days, honestly, if you're thinking about it, do it. There's just no reason not to.
Oh no, I have a cruiser. I'd like to bring my cruiser. Like, I'd like to go on a day because I'm shy like that, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to go on a day when there's nobody, just so I could like test my own limits. You know?
Good luck. Finding that is very hard.
Yeah.
The only place there's a Megaglis where you can rent the track for yourself if you want. Very nice little track, very technical. So definitely a lot of fun.
So finance.
Finance. Okay, so if we're talking finances from A to Z, it's expensive. Let's put it flat out there. It's not cheap to have a bike, especially here in Quebec. Insurance, registration, everything is not cheap. If you put insurance registration aside, it can be cheap-ish. If you think of just buying the bike. Bikes are obviously cheaper than cars in most cases. You got to think of your gear, your helmet. That's a big purchase. You're looking at about $500. I see people go for cheaper, and I'm like, that's not for me. $500 helmet is pretty much my minimum. And I don't have money to say anything. Like, I don't have much money, but I know that when it comes to my safety, I will put in the money.
I mean, mind you, I bought my helmet, which is a HJC. I got the cheapest one, but not for just any reason. It's because it's a Stormtrooper. That's where Kawatrooper.
Okay.
I'm a big Star Wars geek. If you didn't know, so.
I had a feeling. But definitely, when it comes to safety, I like to spend a little bit more money, knowing that I'm good. Right.
Any preference on brand or?
So when it comes to brands, obviously I like I'm a big Forza guy. I have a lot of Forza stuff. I like their Kevlar pants. My jacket's Forza. My helmet, I'm an X-Lite helmet type of guy. Most people don't know the company. It's from Nolan. It's actually their race division helmets.
Funny, I've never heard of that.
They're not really known too much here. The distributor stopped distributing here in North America for, I think, 2 or 3 years or whatever. But Nolan has been making really good helmets, quality helmets for a long time. And their racing line is actually a MotoGP. I don't know if there's anyone in MotoGP, but I know Moto3 and Moto2. There's a lot of racers who use them, and they're the same quality. I can't say if better or not. I don't necessarily know, but they're the same quality as an AGV, Pista, all like the Shoei RF14 or whatever that one is called. All those top $1,000 helmets, or way more. They're usually about $1,500. The Nolan or the X-Lite division is cheaper and same quality. So let's be real, it's cheaper is better. For me, in my case, my pocket's already very thin. So for me, I went a little bit cheaper. But you know what? It wasn't even because of the price. I put that helmet on and I did not feel it. I did not feel the helmet whatsoever. It's so light. I have no pressure points. And that's the biggest deal. If I can say anything for buying a helmet, it is wear the helmet in store for like 30 to 40 minutes. If you feel anything on like pain, or not even pain, just a pressure, not the helmet for you, try something else.
So it's all about comfortability at the end.
Yeah, when it comes to helmets, it's comfortability. I know that the X-Lite fits me very well. The Pistas don't fit me whatsoever. I actually get a lot of pain in my head, or on my forehead. The Shoeis, I haven't really tried. I don't think I've ever tried them. They're also way out of my price range. I didn't want to pay $1,000 for my helmet, but it's the one that fit me well, so I got it, Nothing else was fitting me right.
I wanted to get that helmet that looked like, what was it? I think it was the Airlight.
Oh, yes.
It was like camel green with like a golden visor.
Yeah, that's the visor that has like that goes over the chin,
it goes
right?
over here.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you know why I wanted to do that?
They have so many color schemes.
No, I wanted to do that because of like, you know Halo, the game?
Yeah, of course.
Big Master Chief fan.
Oh,
So
yeah.
everything that I try to do motorcycle-wise is actually anime or game-related.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like actually, you know what? Just for the camera. Have you ever watched Attack on Titan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete
And I find
sense.
it works really well with what I like to do, especially with motorcycles, because, for them, they're actually the Wings of Freedom. That's what they're called.
Okay,
The
yeah.
Scouts Regiment, the Wings of Freedom.
Definitely riding a motorcycle, you feel free. If you're not stuck in traffic, of course.
Well, that's my other question that I wanted to ask you is, and I think I've asked this almost every single episode and received many different answers.
Okay.
Different answers the whole time, actually. What does freedom mean to you? Because again, freedom can mean one thing to one person, and can mean another thing to another person.
That's hard to say, because freedom. You know what? I might need a minute for that one.
Take your time.
Yeah, you know what? Freedom is, because for me, I don't think of riding as freedom. I think of riding as an escape of reality a little bit. For me, it's my place to be. It helps me kind of calm down and wind down a little bit.
It's almost a little bit more like a self-therapy, if anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a self-therapy. On track, it's very different. On track, I'm like anxiety at the highest level possible because you're going super fast speeds around
But
corners.
it's a good anxiety.
But it's a very good anxiety. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's definitely a very good one. So freedom for me is being able to do what I want, kind of, which I think is pretty much the main definition of freedom, is doing what you want and not having anyone control you or of any kind, I would assume. When it comes to motorcycling, freedom is not the word I would have used for me personally. For me, it's more of a soothing, get away from reality type of thing. That's about it, really. I don't know.
Into its own.
It's different. For me, it's different than freedom. I do see where people say it's freedom as in like you're free. You can, you have all the wind going through like around you and everything. You don't have anything blocking you. You can go as fast as you want according to the limit, right? You know, like there's you feel liberated from everything. You feel like you're flying. Sometimes
It's funny, you're like the second person to say that, and the other person that said that was right here, Kev.
Okay, it's probably
He's
just the
episode 2 of this.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like it's like you're flying in the air, and I was like, that's I've never heard that before. Now you're the second person to say it.
Oh well, get onto super sports and you'll see. You pretty much are flying at that point. Yeah, no, that's definitely how I see it more. I don't see it as. I understand how people say it freedom, but for me, it's not the word I would have used.
So my brother came, and he's like, you know, a big financial whiz, you know, super successful in his own field, and he was giving me some financial advice, and he was just like,
Let me guess. First thing, get rid of the motorcycle.
exactly. Him and my uncle actually said, get rid of the motorcycle, and I'm just like, honestly, what I pay my motorcycle on a week-to-week basis or a yearly basis would probably cost me way less than going into therapy, because I feel like that's what it is for me. My freedom is where you don't need to think about the problem until
Yeah, it's a good way of putting
you're
it.
struck in front of it with it. Like when I'm done riding and I get back home, then I'm like, okay, time to deal with it. But like when I'm out there, it's a little bit like for church for me, because I go to church twice a week.
Oh wow. Okay,
You know?
that's a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot. People complain that's a lot, but I'm like, yo, it's on me. I go to
For-
church, not you. You know, like
It's-
me 1
it's-
hour with
I-
God is doesn't mean like I'm losing anything. You know?
No, it's more than most people, I would say.
Yeah.
Most people don't go to church at all. So
Well, I mean, I try to be non-political. I try to be non-religious. This whole podcast is really just being open. And that's my reality, where I have people tell me like, well, why do you go to church twice a week? I'm like, well, what do you care? You know, like
not your time.
exactly. It's like, for me, it's like, well, why do you ride? And then, why would I honestly care why you ride either? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you know, I have people ask me all the time why I ride, and it really comes down to I want to.
there you go.
It's very simple. I want to. It gives me pleasure to ride.
Yeah.
It lets me escape my horrible day, or like my if I have a temper or whatever. Like not that I have a temper, but if I have a bad day and I just don't want to deal with it, right? It's one way to relieve my stress, you know. So for me, it's when I ride, it's because I want to. You know, like my mom doesn't like me riding. I still do it anyways. You know, like I'm 18. I can do what I want.
Exactly.
So that's the way that I look at riding, and a lot of people say like, oh, you know, like I ride for, like I don't care what other people ride, and I think that's pretty much what everyone says at the end of the day. Like, no one is riding for someone else.
No, exactly. You're riding for yourself.
It's too expensive of a hobby to ride for someone else. You know.
So expensive hobbies.
The camera's on.
Yep.
Expensive hobbies.
Yeah. That's how I feel. I mean,
I
it's become a passion, which I find great, but it's kind of like photography for me now is starting to become expensive.
Yeah.
And don't forget, I don't charge people a dime for my pictures. I tell them, you know, just as long as you share, you know, like don't forget
Yeah.
to tag me and stuff. That's the most
Exactly. I
important
tagged you
part.
in every picture that you take, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
take some great pictures. So definitely show off. I'll help you show off your work.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
So
that.
that doesn't bother me whatsoever. I
For some
appreciate-
people it does though. It's weird. It's like they'll take the effort to actually take off and crop off the little watermark.
Your watermark.
But see, I find it kind of disrespectful.
It's very disrespectful because there's a lot of work because you
well.
you
It's
actually
not
edit
even
them.
that though. So when I do a photo, like a photo shoot, I'll purposely take it in a certain angle, and by cutting off this part doesn't make the photo equal anymore.
Yeah.
And that just pisses me off. Like I'm very into symmetry, and I'm very into like centering things, or you know.
For me, it's disrespectful in the way that that you actually put work into. Like some people who take pictures, they don't do much. They'll do like a little bit of editing and very very minimal. And I'm not saying that it's right either. And they'll just crop out the watermark or whatever. It's not nice whatsoever. But you actually do quite a bit of work to edit some of the pictures and change some of the colors to make sure that the right colors pop, right?
Did you see some of my photos where the sky actually looks like
exactly.
insane?
There's some very nice pictures that you take, and it's very clear there's some decent amount of editing that goes into that type of work. So for someone to take your name off of that edited picture is just rude. To me, it's very rude. And every picture that I have that's on my Instagram or whatever, that's not taken by me, I give the photo credits to whoever took that picture. If I'm on the bike, it's very clear I didn't take that picture. Clearly I couldn't be in two places at one time. So I give the credits to who it deserves, right? No matter, even if I edit the picture, I'll still give the credit to whoever took that picture, because that was for me, that was a great timing. That was that was a skill that was there. Like, they were perfect timing, right? Time and place was perfect when they took that picture. So
well, see, I know we're going on a little tangent there with the photos, but I just want to add this. This year, what I'm planning to do with a couple of friends, I might charge for this one because it's a little more risky, not only for them, but for me most especially, is I'm thinking about doing, what do you call that, rolling shots?
Yes, definitely.
But with my camera, not just with a cell phone or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll have an actual driver in the car. I'll have somebody that's like a couple blocks down just to make sure that there's no cops. I'll have another guy that's a couple blocks behind us just to make sure there's no cops following. But that's one thing I really wanted to do. And what a lot of people are really looking into right now, it's just, reels of them rolling by.
Yeah, you know what? In my case, when I had the Ninja 300, and even when I had the ZX10, the first one, I had all the GoPros. I have like 6-7 GoPros at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have all the GoPros. I was always the one taking pictures. I was always the one taking videos, making little edits for everyone. And what I've realized was that as I did it for everyone, no one did it for me.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't have many pictures of me riding the bike. I have a lot of pictures of my bikes, but I don't have not many of them with me riding the bike itself, and even track days, like, I pay for the pictures that are there because, or else I don't have any pictures. There's not many people that take pictures, or they're on the right spot or whatever.
Well, what I like about your bike is that it's so noticeable because yours is a stretch, right?
Exactly. So Stella is my street bike, and she is fully stretched. She's dropped 2.5 inches in the front, 2 inches in the back. A lot of other things done. Clearly is very noticeable. The color is what everyone notices about it.
No, honestly, when I see you, I'm just like, no, I'm coming in. Like, I actually stop what I do, especially when I know it's you and your group coming in, or like your, the friends that come in. I'll see your bike and I'm like, okay, wait, give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. And then I'll go and
my group, we do have a decent amount of decent bikes that are stretched, or, well, not stretched, actually. I think I'm the only one in my crew, or not crew, but the group, the people I ride with. Pretty much one of the only ones in my group that is stretched, and that is very vibrant, I guess, in color. The Miami teal is as vibrant as it gets. The other bikes are unique in their own specific ways, a little bit different. So we do have a very colorful, I guess you can say, type of bikes compared to the rest of the other groups. There is one other group, the guys I used to ride with when I had my Ninja 300. I used to ride with them. They don't really ride much anymore, but they all had stretch bikes. And I think, they pretty much all had stretch bikes. The Busas, the R1s, the ZX10s, they're all stretched, lowered for, racing purposes, on the track, obviously. So for and I think even on the island of Montreal, I think we're maybe 10 people at tops that have a stretch bike. There's not many of us.
Okay.
And so we're very noticeable. And then when you add a very vibrant color, you stick out very, very well. I think it's funny. Most people, I actually went snowboarding the other day, and I was with a group of other motorcyclists, and no one knew who I was. But then as soon as I said my bike and the color, everyone knew who I was. And I was oh, yeah, so you know my bike, but not me. And they're like, well, you stick out. Like, all right, so the bike sticks out, but not me. But that's all right. I like being kind of subtle sometimes. The bike is not subtle whatsoever. This year, though, with the new color, it's going to be a little bit more subtle.
Is it going to be a surprise, or will you tell our viewers what it is?
Always a surprise for everyone. There is there's not even a handful. I think there's 3 people that know the exact color, or the exact type of material that it's going to be, because it's a very different I have not seen this color on a bike. Put it this way. This color, or
It's totally purple, isn't it?
no, not purple. It is the only thing I can say. It is more girly than what my color is right now. And it's not purple. It's not pink. But it is a very girly color, and it's not flash. It's very dark color, but there's a lot of sparkles. So it's fun.
Okay, because I was totally thinking yellow, which was like my.
So you know what I have? So I have the next 3 years lined up in colors.
Really?
Oh yeah, I have them lined up.
Like it's set in your head. This year is this. That
Yeah,
year is that.
actually, this color that I have that's going this year was actually supposed to be when I was picking up. So this year, this color, I found it last year. So last year when I was going to go pick up the wrap that I was, so the Miami teal, I was on my way to the wrap shop. I was going to go pick it up. And then I saw on their display, they had this color. And I said, fuck the Miami teal. I'm going this color. And then my friend I was with, she was like, no, no, you're not going that color. And I'm like, why? She's like, it's too pretty. And I'm like,
It's too pretty.
it's perfect. She's like, you've been like complaining and thinking about this color, like the Miami teal, for so long, all of winter. And she's like, you're sticking with it. And then I remember the lady who worked at the place brought out the roll, and I was like, well, it's already cut. I guess I'm going this color this year then. And then I told myself, I was like, hey, next year that's the color. So this year is a very unique color. I have not seen a bike this color. Even cars. Not many cars are this color, at least.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm looking forward to this summer and spring.
Yeah, it's coming out. But the Miami teal will make a comeback. I will tell you that. It's not gone forever.
I mean, it's honestly, out of all the photos that I've taken, it's one of my most favorite bikes. You even notice it. It's actually my
I noticed it's on your background on your laptop.
Exactly.
It's great.
It's one of my most favorite colors and bikes that I've ever taken photos of.
You know what? It's a love-hate for that color.
Really?
A lot of people did not like it at the beginning of the year. But then it started getting popular. So last year's color was teal when it came to super sports in North America. Not super sport cars. So a lot of cars, like supercars, were the Miami teal last year. It seemed to be really a popular color. I remember I made my reveal of that color on TikTok, and I think a day later I had like 30 messages of saying, oh, this supercar is the same color, this and that. And I'm like, I guess I'm in this year's color. This is perfect, you know? And it's actually really funny because the year before, Stella was gray.
Yeah.
I had made her like a matte metallic gray. And
Do you have these on your Instagram where I could see that? Because I haven't even seen it.
Yeah, that's true. You probably haven't seen it. Everything is on my Instagram, all the color changes and stuff like that. Gray was a really good year. Gray looked really well on that bike. So put in perspective, as you can probably all see, that my accent color is always orange. So my bike will never be orange. Everyone said this year my bike's going to be orange. I said, no, can't be, because orange on orange doesn't work.
Okay.
My accents are orange, so my chain is orange, my levers are orange, I have orange stickers, I have a whole bunch of little orange little details.
So it has to have a nice contrast.
It has to make a nice contrast. And teal, when people saw it, were like, orange does not match. And I said, you know what? It kind of really does. It's such a clash that it matches. It doesn't make
teal
sense.
is like a little bit of green and blue, technically.
Exactly.
And blue and orange together is just the most beautiful colors together.
So actually, initially, I wanted the color to be more of a darker blue, more of a blue. And then I found the teal, and then I was like, that's it, done. And then I saw the color I wanted this year, and then that all fucked up. But so I stuck with it. But even in the gray, I loved that gray color. And when I had it, no one was gray at that time. But at the end of the season, that's when the Nardo gray started coming. When Audi came out with their Nardo gray.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful color. So last summer, the summer that just passed, I had already changed to the Miami teal, and everyone was gray. Every single third or fourth bike was gray. Everyone went gray. So gray was definitely last year's color.
I feel like black too, with the MT-09s and whatnot.
Yeah, so a lot of black. It was very dark, but I think the Nardo gray was really a big hit for last summer, and that's when I was Miami teal. But it's funny because I'm just waiting for the color that I'm coming out with now this year. If this one becomes popular, I am pretty much setting the trend at this point.
Nice.
Because I got rid of the gray. Everyone went gray. I went teal, and a lot of supercars went teal. And I feel like there's a few bikes that are going to be teal. Sorry, there was a few this year that went teal as well. And I feel like this summer that's coming, there's going to be some teal, a little bit more accents of teal. And with the color I'm going to, and if the summer after people have that color that I'm going this year, then I'm for sure setting trends. So I'm just putting that out there. I'm setting the trend, you know. Yeah. But, you know, so it's definitely fun playing with colors. Even my race bike, Tracy, she's gray, actually, and she's a Nardo gray that's been customized with some orange flakes and stuff like that. The perks of knowing people at a body shop. So you can play with some colors.
But I guess I know where I'm gonna go next time I want a new color in my bike.
Yeah, it depends, right? If you want to go paint or wrap, everything is different. Wrap is a nightmare to do. I do it all myself. So,
I mean, the good thing about wrap is that you could peel it off after, right?
Yeah, you could peel it off after, depending on how you do it and stuff like that. But yes, in general, you can peel it off, and you can go back to OEM color, which is what I did. You know, I had the gray, I ripped it all off, and then I put the teal on it. And now this year, it's going to be a little bit different because the teal will come back. My bike is going through a few changes this year. Even halfway through the summer, it's going to go through another change. So with the changes that it's going through, the one setup is going to be teal, and then the other setup is going to be the new color. So definitely going to have some fun with colors. I like playing with colors. It's so much fun. Yeah. You show up to places and people don't even recognize the bike anymore, right? Or people just know you because of the colors. And this year was, last year, a lot of people found out that I was changing the color every year because it was only the second year or the third year I was doing it.
Was it last year? No, it was. I met you 2 years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so that's when I found out that you actually change colors like every year.
A lot of people found out. Well, because I had it white initially, and then I changed it gray, and then I knew I didn't want to stay gray because at that time, at the end of that season, I had heard a lot of people going gray, and I was like, I don't want to be the same color as everyone else. So for me, it was like let's swap it out. Yeah. That's when I found the teal and everything, so I changed it to teal. But this year, it just kind of like at the end of the year, I realized like, okay, people really like the color, but I kind of want to change it, you know, because I had the other color.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's your choice, your bike too, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's nice to know that people recognize the bike, but
yeah, but at a certain point, you know, with the things we do, you don't want to be recognized always. So
no, for sure, true.
So definitely, it was one of those things where it was too flashy. It was too flashy. I love the color, don't get me wrong, and that's why it will come back. But it is a little bit too flashy for everyday use, for riding at night and stuff like that. It's nice being visible, but sometimes you're too visible. So, you know, it's gonna change. And this year I made a decision that, or last year I made a decision that I will be changing every year because it just happened to have played out that way. And I think I'm just gonna stick to that every year. And now that's how I just found different colors, and I see colors every now and then. I'm like, oh, I want that color. And then I'm like, shit, I already have the next 2 years colors picked out. I hope I like this color in 3 years.
There you go.
So, you know, it's fun. I like playing with the colors. It's being different. You know, why be the same as everyone else, right? So.
No, and I actually, who was I speaking to with this? There's a couple episodes ago where I was speaking with someone, and I was like, the bike is basically an extension of self. You know,
it is.
Even though it is just a hobby for most people and other people it's a passion, I feel like, you know, when you go from, let's say, some people have been riding for years, they go from, you know, super sport and then they go to cruiser. It's not because they changed as a person, but their extension of self. It's the growth of what they're going through, you know. It's just because they like something once doesn't mean that they won't necessarily like it, but they just want to try something new.
Yeah, so definitely that happens a lot with super sports when they transfer over to cruisers, and there was a few of my friends who did that as well this year, who transferred over to a cruiser, And for me, I find it ridiculous. I'm like, how would you go from such an adrenaline rush to a cruiser? Like, how does that make sense?